we listened to it last night. We were talking about this a little bit on TWiT, last night. And one of the things that, right now, and this is why the authors, I think, got a little wound up, is that right now it's not a big deal because it sounds like a computer voice. But if you look at how much has changed over the last 5 years and project that out another 5 or 10 years, you are looking at a point somewhere in the future that it sounds good enough that most people are happy just letting the computer read it. Right, where it's not like a robot, yeah. And so what the authors are afraid of is right now they're double dipping. So they get paid for the book, and then they get paid again for the audiobook, which generally costs as much or more than the book did. And so the issue that they have is that we're now going to lose that revenue stream. People are just going to buy the book, and then they're going to be able to listen to it. And we're not going to get that double hit that they're hoping to get, from that process. I mean, that's their concern. One of the things that, of course, Amazon's going to do to them right now, I mean, this is how this is going to play out, I think, is that Amazon is essentially going to go, sure, we turned it off. That's what they said. We'll turn it off. You can choose to do it, but I guarantee eventually there's going to be a big red button somewhere that tells you this is not audio enabled. And so the thing is
so
that this is
big
green. If Amazon does big green audio enabled, red, even if you're never going to use it, if you are never going to use it, you'd be still tempted to wait it out and not buy it because it's not fully featured. That's the issue.
What I would love to see, and as you know, I've always been a reader of just pure and simple paper books, and I've never been into audio books. But I've started to see the value when I had this desire to listen to the speech-to-text portion of the Kindle. And Susan, we were talking about this on the drive up here, the whole idea of sort of packaging things together. I mean, you were talking about developing more information products for your business and, packaging ebooks with video and audio. And I would love to see, I don't know that I would buy it, but I would consider could I buy this book at, let's say it costs $7.99, but if the audio was part of that as well, if that audio version was part of it for an additional $5, I don't know yet, but would I buy the book then for $12 so that I could go back and forth in those moments? And granted, I don't cook much, so there aren't that many moments when I actually want to just hear the book. But for those moments, it could be worth it. And that's sort of the whole point. And I think that goes back to a lot of broader things that people in the TV business have talked about, the whole idea that your media needs to live with you wherever you are, and it needs to transform wherever you are. So if you're at home and you want to watch a show on the TV, you watch it on the TV. If then you go out into your car or on the bus or something, because we don't want you watching TV while you're in your car. Thank you. It would then become something that you could listen to the show, or like I said, or if you're on the bus, then it just automatically goes to your mobile phone. Like it's that kind of follow me type of feature. I wouldn't mind seeing something like that with books.
Well, I think that we as consumers are going to get more and more spoiled by this world of information product marketing, where you get ebooks and worksheets and posters to print out virtually. You can print in your own home poster, your own home printer, but also the ability to have audio files and video files and what is it called? Screentastic, Camtastic, where you do demos of things. You're going to get all this stuff every time you want to learn something new. You need advice, or you want to learn about something new, you're going to be surrounded by a multimedia assemblage of content. And after a while, just getting a book is going to be like, that's not good. Where's the audio files?
Well, and I think that also when you're looking at that, the Adobe is really ahead in this. In this game, that for years they've been building PDFs. The Acrobat is capable of adding 3D, audio, video, all interactivity, hyperlink. All that stuff is already built into PDF, and it has been there. The infrastructure has been there for 5 years. And what's crazy is that Adobe doesn't even do it. They don't even use it for their own press releases. It's just a little nutty. But they have all this infrastructure, and so we've built some samples, and we've had Pixel members building samples, and it's really profound. I mean, it's actually you can really add a lot of this interactivity, and that could be the next level. I don't know about for romance novels, whether that would be necessarily there. But when you think about a non-fictional information where you want all the data in the book to be hyperlinked, or you want maybe some video. I mean, I can talk about how to edit, but wouldn't it be great if I clicked on the image that's in the book and it started playing a video? And that is the next. I think that's where we're going, and that's why I think it's so important to have more than just being able to have a black and white still image that it's playing back. And that's why I think that if Apple puts out a tablet, which I think they will be in the first half of this year, if they put out a tablet that is capable of doing a lot of that stuff, I think you're going to end up in a situation where now Amazon's really got a run for their money.
The Kindle is a little bit clunky. I mean, you do the navigation takes a little bit of work, and I don't have an iPhone, but I often use the iPhone that my husband has. Such a dork. Okay, so I turn on the Kindle for the first time, and I'm touching the screen. Because you think it's going to be a touchscreen because we're used to what Apple has taught us in the last few years about touchscreen and moving things around, and you feel like you should be able to do it that way. The funniest part was last night when the battery drained. I was like, I guess I better go plug in my book. Never thought I would say that before.
Well, I find that every time I pick up anything now that's anywhere like a tablet, I immediately touch the screen. As an iPhone user, I immediately go, "Woo! Oh, I can't do that." And then as soon as that happens, I go, "Nah, I don't want to."
You're not interested. What about you, Susan? Because you use the iPhone. Is that training you to expect to touch everything? And do you have that sort of moment where you're like, "Oh, I wish this was a touchable type of device."
Absolutely. And I had a funny insight yesterday. You know, I'm surrounded by tweens in my household. I have a tweenie girl, and her friends come over, and I noticed that one of her best friends, who's kind of a bit of a phone snob at 12, had an iPhone way before I did, and I noticed she wasn't carrying it anymore. And I said, "Hey, what happened to your iPhone? Did it break?" And she said, "Oh no, you cannot text with that thing." She had to get something with a built-in keyboard. And my daughter has my old Trio, and she said, "Yeah, I'm not giving this baby up." She could have any phone. She saved up her money for a phone. She has the old Trio because they love the keyboards on them. They don't like the virtual keyboards.
Well, I think that
very interesting.
And I think it's interesting because I had a Trio before I had my iPhone, and I actually found that I can now type faster on my iPhone than I could ever type on my Trio. And that is, it's not so much the speed at which I can type; it's the predictive technology that's in the iPhone. So it's so good at fixing, because what was happening with the Trio is, I could type faster, and then I go back, I backspace, and type it again, and backspace, and the combination of being dyslexic and having big thumbs made it very difficult.
You've got a lot of problems today. I've got so much empathy for you today.
It is surprising that I've gotten this far. I'm so happy I made it to the studio. I almost got lost. You know, my ADD and my OCD were competing with my dyslexia, and now you get out of the house, and now I hear
Alex
I've got all
has
this
the big
stuff.
thumb issue.
And now I have a big thumb.
At least you have opposable thumb.
But it's very American to have lots of problems that didn't exist.
But
so
you're
anyway,
happy about it. You're happy about it because Americans are happy people. Sorry, that was just a random segue. No, I was talking to a friend of mine from Germany, and she's like, they're way more depressed in Germany about the economy, or just in Europe about the economy. She's like, at least Americans have this upbeatness, even though things are rough right now, obviously. They have this upbeat attitude. She goes, if you go to Europe and walk around the streets, she's like, it's so depressing. I know all my European friends and listeners are going to email me this week. That's not true. We're happy. We're waving pom-poms.
That's because we have Obama.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's solving everything.
It's going to last for we got the Obama honeymoon that's going to last for about the next 5 or 6 months, and then after that we're going to look down and we're going to go, oh my gosh, we just spent $4 trillion. Anyway, that's a whole other show.
Oh, that's your segue to Fox. I know.
Oh,
Fox,
yes.
Fox
Thank
News,
you, Susan. That is
which we sound like right now.
We do sound like Fox News. That's actually a perfect segue. Now, it's interesting to look back on the election cycle and sort of predictions on what is Fox News going to do when Bush is no longer in office. But what's really fascinating is that's a network that grew tremendously while its side was in office, and now all of the people who are more right-leaning and therefore are probably Fox News viewers, they want that outlet to satisfy them, and they're not going to get it. Certainly not going to get it from MSNBC. CNN obviously is big on being independent and down the middle. So more viewers than ever are flocking to Fox News. Brian Stelter, who I think is probably just one of the best reporters in the land right now, and is just covering all the really critical things, especially in my beat. So kudos again. And I think next week we're going to try to have him on. But anyway, he reports that in February, Fox News ranked number 3 among all cable networks in prime time, according to Nielsen. The network averaged 2.4 million viewers in prime time, up 28% from the same month last year, up 1/4 in ratings from the same month a year ago. A year ago when the primary season was kicking in, and it was February, so it was obviously that was a huge month a year ago in February. Clearly with Clinton and Obama, so there was a lot for for Fox News to cover at that time, and then obviously with the Republican primaries as well. So it's really interesting. Another widening of the gap between Fox and other cable channels.
I think one of the issues there is that the people who watch Fox, I think oftentimes just feel like there's nobody else to watch because everyone else is liberal, and statistically they are. So I mean that's the reality of it is that statistically all the other networks lean liberal except for Fox. And so what they did is they're the largest just because they're a niche. They're a niche that they're it's not the majority of the United States. It's 28%. But it's the largest chunk that, everyone else gets what they want, whether they're watching CNN or MSNBC or whatever. All of those are equal for the rest of the population. There's just one single unit that keeps on growing because no one's paying attention. And part of that is, it's not